President Obama made an audacious choice at the funeral of Reverend Pinckney, one of the 9 people murdered in an attack on a black church in Charleston, South Carolina.
106.
A choice that connected with a suffering congregation. On the day of the massacre, Reverend Pinckney's wife, Jennifer, was in the church building, but away from her husband, in his office, looking after their little daughter.
6 years old, very rambunctious. She wasn't going to sit quiet, wasn't going to be still. That's why I was in the office with her. Had Milana not been with us that evening, I wouldn't be speaking to you right now. I would have been sitting beside my husband in that Bible study.
911, what's the address of the emergency?
It's Manuel Church. There's plenty of people shot down here. Please send somebody right away.
Who were in that Bible study group: Dylan Roof, a 21-year-old white man who hated black people, who wrote they were taking over the world. The real world was no match for his prejudice. After his arrest, he said everyone was so nice to him, he nearly didn't carry out the attack. He said he wanted to start a new civil war, a race war.
Where is the shooter?
He's in the office.
Dylan Roof was not the first white supremacist to target black churches. In 1962, 5 churches in the South were burned to a bond. In 1963, a single attack injured 22.
Dynamite exploded on a Sunday morning, killed 4 little girls in Sunday school.
In 1995 and 6, 30 churches were burned.
20 years ago, 2 members of the KKK burned down the original Mount Zion AME.
It didn't stop with the Charleston attack.
We're going backwards. We have to work with white clergy and beg them to begin to speak up.
The concept of grace is why the president sang that hymn. Valerie Jarrett is a close friend and was a senior White House advisor. She was with him when he heard some of the victims' families had, almost immediately, forgiven the killer.
We were traveling when he heard that, and President Obama stopped, and he's like, what grace? So soon after your loved ones are murdered so viciously.
The murderer, Dylan Roof, is now on death row. It was said at his trial he was self-radicalized. The roots of that radicalism are startling and go back to 2012, 3 years before the massacre.
Trayvon Martin, an unarmed black teenager, was shot down by a white neighborhood watchman who claimed self-defense.
Trayvon Martin was shot and killed in Florida by George Zimmerman, a vigilante, who thought the teenager was suspicious. Although there was said to be some altercation, there was no serious suggestion Trayvon, unarmed, holding only a soft drink and a bag of sweets, was doing anything wrong beyond taking a shortcut. But the police originally said there wasn't enough evidence to charge his killer, who'd claimed self-defense. Trayvon hadn't been involved in any crime, but it was news coverage of the case which radicalized Dylan Roof.
Bet you money, if he didn't have that hoodie on, that nutty neighborhood watch guy wouldn't have responded in that violent and aggressive.
As more protests sprouted up across the country, spontaneously rallying for justice, calling for his arrest, and the Black Panthers offering a $10,000 bounty for his capture.
He wrote in a manifesto Trayvon's killer was in the right.
When I think about this boy, I think about my own kids. And, if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon.
A few days later, the president returned to his theme, trying to explain to the whole of America what it felt like to provoke fear just because of the color of your skin.
There are very few African-American men in this country who haven't had the experience of being followed when they were shopping in a department store. That includes me.
The following year, 2013, Trayvon's killer